Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AskReddit. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Left-handed people, what are some challenges you face that right-handed people will never understand? Tables in schools and colleges usually are designed only for right-handed. And when there are 5 left-handed desks in the lecture hall, and there's 5 right-handed people twisting their bodies to use them, I don't think they even notice. This annoys the hell out of me. Seriously. It's so hard to write properly. Being damned for all eternity. High five. Mrs. Yeah, being a woman and left-handed in the past, I definitely would have been put on trial as a witch. But I'm also pretty ambidextrous, which apparently is also very common for left-handed people. So all this talk about problems with scissors or can openers means absolutely nothing to me. The one thing that really bothered me is trying to aim a bow and arrow. Because you're supposed to focus on a target with one eye, and I still haven't been able to figure out which side is best. Whiteboards or anything with drying ink or paint is a horrendous thing to use or write on. Every presentation I gave in college, I would write on whiteboards right to left for this reason. I knew everything I was writing down and had my notes in front of me. Stop smudging while also working as a good attention grabber for the audience. I'm a teacher who writes on whiteboards all day. Your hand shouldn't touch the whiteboard. You should be making bigger mo to 1 from the elbow if you're writing big enough for people to see, rather than small motions from the wrist, the way you do with writing on paper. Can openers. Using a can opener is upsetting as I always forget that I have to use my right hand and will likely struggle for longer than I care to admit. Also, credit card machine with a pen on a cord or similar devices that need a signature. The cord is too dang short for my lefty signature. I'm right-handed, but can openers don't work for me. They just don't. They don't open the cans no matter what I do. It's bullshit. I'm a lefty and I actually don't struggle with can openers. Having your kindergarten teacher hitting you with a ruler every time you pick up a pen until you become right-handed. Wow. That's definitely abuse. Writing gets smudged on your hand, scissors are dangerous, lack of baseball gloves, writing in spiral notebook, writing crooked. Oh my god, I forgot about the ink smudging. And writing in a spiral notebook. I don't know about you, but my handwriting definitely turned out very slanted. The lack of gloves was real for me too. As a girl playing softball, I had to go to the kids' baseball section to find a glove that was the right size for my tiny girl hand. But it wasn't really the right size for softball either. Your comment brought back a lot of left-handed childhood memories for me. I just turned my spiral notebooks upside down. People think I'm horribly confused about it, but fuck 'em. I'm trying to get shit done. Most scissors aren't made for us. Also, having to hear you're left-handed too many goddamn times. My toddler son is left-handed, I'm pretty sure, so he's gonna get a lot of comments about that. He's also a redhead, which people like to point out, and he has a birthmark which people will question, and he is a twin, which also gets a lot of comments. The poor kid. I got a teeny taste of how annoying that must be when I worked for a lefty. I'm ambidextrous, and one day he saw me using my left hand for something and was like, "OMG, are you left-handed too?" All excited. It's weird how people make a big deal out of lefties, in one way or another. The search for the quickest drawing pen. The hate for pencils. Personally, I also have hyperhidrosis, so every handwritten essay I've ever done has looked just like a smeared gray block. I recently found Zebra Sarasa and Sarasa Dry to be my favorite quick drawing pen as a lefty. Being utterly superior in every way. All whilst being oppressed by society. Lefties rise up. This. Measuring cups are backwards. So are can openers. Can't use most scissors. Power tools are designed mainly for right hand. My grade 2 teacher forced me to write with my right hand, lol. On the other hand, mind the pun, southpaw punches aren't always expected. I grew up using everything right-handed. Scissors, power tools, baseball. But the measuring cup really got me. I was wondering why everything I was measuring was different. I just assumed both sides were the same. My dad looked at me one day and started laughing because I was holding it backwards. I still do this, and I have to consciously tell myself, hold it in your right hand, doofus. I've never really found it a disadvantage. I write left-handed, but as a computer programmer for many years I found that the right-hand bias in machine design allowed me to use my left hand to make notes or turn pages while controlling the device with my right. I can use a mouse in either hand, so I can simultaneously control two PCs. Watching someone right-handed put the pen down, click the mouse a time or two, then find the pen again whilst their useless left hand does nothing makes me feel sorry for them. If I had to change the wired mouse to the left-hand side of nearly every computer I was working on, I would never have got through a day. My mother is left-handed and had some sort of data entry job. She claims she was one of the fastest BC's mouse with her left hand and used the number pad, attached to the keyboard, with her right. I cannot make right-handed scissors do whoosh when I cut paper, but that might just be a me thing. You've got to find just the right paper and scissors for that to work. Lots of medical studies refuse to accept left-handed volunteers because it skews the data. This makes me curious how they'd skew the data. I'm not left-handed, my husband is. He's also a musician and says the worst part of it is that he can never go somewhere where there are guitars and just spontaneously pick one up to play on it, but always has to bring his own. I'm a lefty too, and when I went to purchase my first guitar as a teen, I told the guy I was left-handed, and he asked if I'd started playing yet. Told him no, and he was like, look, you'll have way more selection, and you'll pay less if you just learn righty. I did, and I'm so glad. Boyfriend surprised me big time with an old harmony a while back, and it's my most treasured possession. They're hard enough to find, would have been nearly impossible to snag one for a lefty. Sharing in case this can help somebody else. Writing in spiral-bound books makes it hard to write on the left side of any page as the spiral gets in the way of my wrist. I'm confused, aren't those notebooks two-sided by default? Like the whole point is you can open them all the way so the spiral is on one side or the other. So it should be the same problem for right-handed people on the other side. Alternatively, 3-ring binders were the bane of my existence in school. Impossible to write in those things without removing the page entirely. Figuring out which is the more dominant way to play an instrument with. I play drums left-handed, but guitar right. Took me a long time to figure out which way to learn before buying my first instrument. When I miserably attempted to dabble with the guitar, I found it easier to play a right-handed guitar upside down on the left rather than a left-handed one. Surgery. Surgical operations are designed for right-handed doctors. Even the OR layout is set up corresponding to that. Of course, surgeons can learn to cut with their right hand, but that still leaves a problem for surgeons that are left-eye dominant. What they see as straight won't align with how they're cutting simply because the angle of their sight is off. So I should make sure my surgeon is right-handed before I go under. Got it. As a kid, playing baseball with the neighborhood kids. Always had to use right-handed gloves, because I didn't own a glove and those were the only ones available. I'm not fully ambidextrous, but I have split dominance. If I try something new, using chopsticks, for the first time, it can take me an embarrassingly long time to figure what hand they're supposed to go in. I learned my athletics all left-handed, but do pretty much everything else right. I can switch hands on a few things though. Left-handed people had a huge advantage when attacking castles, as medieval stairwells were often clockwise. They were deliberately built so that any right-handed attacker ascending would be at a huge disadvantage, as the interior curve would hinder their ability to draw and swing their swords. Sadly, the one positive perk of being a left-handed person was rendered useless with the obsolescence of castles' utility as fortified defensive structures. I am still salty as about the invention of heavy artillery. We still have an advantage with the toll booth and bicycle brakes. Having to remap the keys for virtually every single computer game I play. My dad just wazds with his right hand and is used to it. It looks a bit yikes, I don't envy you. Wait, what? Can you elaborate a bit? What key mappings do you use? Like, I also remap keys, but that's just for convenience, and not exactly a necessity. Being born in the 70s and being in a Catholic family. The nuns forced me to learn to write right-handed. The pluses. I can shoot, throw a punch, drive a stick in either a left or right-hand drive car and jerk off with surprising proficiency. The minuses. My handwriting looks like an Alabama meth baby drank a few cups of coffee before writing something. My mother is a lefty from a Catholic area. Even public school teachers in the 70s would beat her for writing with her left. So you're telling me you beat your meat while driving? The old and in my opinion best ice cream scoops have the little flicker things on the wrong side. Also my kitchen sink is made for a righty, the draining board is on the right. Having to sit at a certain place at the table. Scissors. Shower layouts. Any device programming, UI layouts, design. Silverware, don't ask you right-handed bastards. Computers. Guitars. Having to make lists explaining why our brains are different, because some internet person had a question. Shower? I never experienced the table thing until I moved to the US, and if I sat at the right side of the table their elbow would bump me because they only use their dominant hand for both utensils. It still makes absolutely no sense to me. How is it not incredibly annoying to constantly have to put down your fork and knife and switch hands every time you want to cut your food? That you can't just flip right-handed scissors upside down. They don't cut. I need my lefty scissors. The blades need to push against each other. When you hold scissors in your right hand your thumb naturally pushes a little bit against the other side. When using the scissors in your left hand you need a little pull with your thumb. For me personally it'd have to be sitting in the same table with the right hand. The goddamn motherfucking handshakes. I'm glad COVID-19 has ended them, and I hope it stays that way. My right hand's handshake grip is like a floppy goldfish, so once in a while when I know a handshake is imminent I'll make sure to hold something large or heavy in my right hand and force a lefty shake. Stop shaking hands. It is fucking stupid. Yees, I legit came here to say this. I can work scissors. No trouble with can openers. In outdoor. Girl boy buttons. No issue. But fucking handshakes. When I started learning guitar I deliberately made the choice to learn it right-handed because I knew I was going to have a bitch of a time finding left-handed guitars. Guitar is weird because I am right-handed and I think the fretting hand has the harder job that requires more dexterity. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.